Welcome back to the program. Well, it is the driest desert in the world with a landscape of salt flats, stony terrain, and volcanic lava. Chile's Atacama Desert might not sound like an appealing destination if you're after some R&R on your holiday, but if it's an adventure you're after, add it to your bucket list. Well, at least so says travel writer Nina Karnikowski, who's just returned from a trip there, and she joins us live from our Sydney CBD studio. Nina, welcome to the program.
Hi, Nadine.
How the heck do you get to the Atacama Desert in Chile?
Well, it is actually quite easy. I mean, I'm saying that from an Australian perspective, because for me, anything under 14 hours is easy. It's a 12-hour flight to Santiago from Sydney, and then from there, you get a flight to Calama, which is 2 hours, and then you're just half an hour drive away from the main town there. So relatively easy for somewhere that actually feels like the end of the earth.
Okay, so paint us a picture of what this main town looks like, and is that where you stay?
Okay, well, I stayed about 10 minutes out of San Pedro. That is the main town there. It's about 6 blocks or so, and it's kind of like something out of a Wild Western. It's these adobe kind of style houses and a beautiful 16th century church. There's little cafes, a main square. It's got a great energy about it. Lots of tour operators everywhere. So if you're not staying somewhere all-inclusive, that would be your base for sure. But I was staying at Alto Atacama Desert Lodge and Spa, which was about a 10-minute drive away, or a 25-minute cycle if you were really up for that, along a very stony pathway. And it was super luxurious. I'm talking about, 6 swimming pools, and there are only 42 rooms. So if you do the math, everyone basically got their own pool. Beautiful 3-course meals, a very sumptuous spa there where you could, just loll around in Andean baths, getting your head massaged and eating fruit skewers. It was very, very sumptuous. But of course, it is just the launch pad because you're really there for the excursions.
Okay, I was going to say, you don't travel all that way to lie around and eat fruit and drink wonderful drinks. So what do you do once you get there?
Well, okay, so there's about 30 excursions that you can do. I mean, I was only there for 5 days. I traveled there with Chimu Adventures, who kind of lined everything up for me, and then the excursions go through the lodge. But as I say, if you were going to be doing it yourself, you would go into town and organize that. But you can see the most incredible things, like the Puxa salt flats, these high elevation salt flats where there are pink flamingos feeding in the salt lakes, and these vicuña, which are like an alpaca, but they have the world's most expensive wool on them. Then you go to the Los Cardones ravine, where you are hiking through the ravine with 900-year-old cacti that are about 7 meters tall, completely monolithic. And then, you might go to the Moon Valley, which actually does look like the surface of the moon, so much so that they actually tested a Mars rover there because it has that really otherworldly terrain. There's salt encrusted on everything, and these big chunks of minerals in the ground that kind of sparkle like gems. And they actually say because of this high minerality, that makes people feel very good when they're in the Atacama Desert. And I have to say, I did feel great. Even when I was out hiking at midnight through Death Valley, would you believe, by the light of the supermoon, it sounds like I'm making it up when I tell you, but then we were taken to the edge of this valley and then told, okay, run down these sand dunes. And so we ran down howling at the moon. It was just incredible. Such
very new agey.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Nina, when you get there, I mean, are people speaking English? Are the locals friendly? What's the cuisine like? If you weren't sort of staying in a spa and you wanted to do it in your own way.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, most people there are speaking English, but if you want to practice your Spanish, you can. I practiced my main phrase, which was muy delicioso, which is basically very delicious, because the food there is fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of meat, which wasn't great for a vegetarian like me, but, there's a lot of lamb, for example, from down in Patagonia. There's a lot of quinoa and corn and all those sorts of things. And then, of course, the delicious Chilean wine, and also the pisco sour, which I think Chile and Peru are constantly fighting about. No, pisco is Chilean, no, it's Peruvian. But, potato, because they are just delicious.
Sounds amazing. So if you wanted to go there, I mean, how much time should you leave yourself?
Okay, well, because there are so many activities to do. I mean, I was there 4 nights, 5 days, and at first I thought, oh, this is very luxurious. I have all this time, but no, because you are morning till night doing these activities because they're just so intoxicating, and it's one of those experiences. At the end of the day, you're sitting around with everybody else at the lodge and you're discussing, okay, what did you do today?
Yeah.
As soon as you hear someone say, oh, I did, and you haven't done it, you want to stay, you want to cram it in the next day as well. But you also want to leave some downtime just to soak up the vibe in the town. So
Yeah.
I would say minimum 5 days, if possible a week, 2 weeks. But also people get stuck there. They've nicknamed it San Pedro de Atrapame, which is actually a play on words about how it catches you and keeps you. My guide said that some people stay 2-3 years when they only intended to come for 2-3 days. So just watch out for that.
Well, we're glad you made it back, Nina, all in one piece. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on.
Thank you, Nadine.